Are you ready?
Twitch TV. I'm here with a couple of my friends. This is our very first podcast. One of my friends, both these guys are great streamers. We've got MMODen. Go ahead and say hello.
What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying your Sunday. Adam talked me into this, even though I did test his manhood a little bit on the fact that we're doing this on Sunday morning, but he assured me that I would be out of here in time to make it for the day's gaming. I'm a big NFL guy, so Sundays are kind of sacred to me in a different way. I have my own chapel, but I've run MMODen now. Coming October will be our 3-year anniversary for the website, and I started streaming. Actually, 2 weeks will be 1 year for me streaming, so pretty fun stuff. I absolutely love it. I love the interaction with the players and stuff like that. It's just a blast.
Just to be clear, I made no such promises to this man that he would get into his game at the time.
Starting off with lies.
If I love it. There in an hour and 10 minutes,
Yeah.
I will officially beat you up.
Okay, well listen, let's move on to the less violent, more friendly Carnage, who's been streaming for several months now. He's very interactive as well, very like-minded to myself. Go ahead and say hello, Co.
Hey everybody, I'm Carnage, and it's a pleasure to meet you guys.
So what we're going to talk about today is a lot of people, I know myself and I've talked to these other guys, a lot of people have asked us, how do we get started streaming? How do we, what do we need to do? What was it like for you guys starting out? And so we wanted to take that and make that our first topic of conversation today. So if anybody out there is interested in starting their own stream, you guys may get a little bit of insight today on how to do that. There is no miracle. It's not like you follow these directions and you will be successful. A lot of it has to do with luck, but we're going to talk about our history a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and we'll go into just some random tips. And it's just going to be kind of, like I said, a fluid conversation a little bit earlier. But anyways, I think we should start probably with let's start with you, MMODen. Let's start with you, Limpy. Some people like to call you.
So how I got started is
just give us a little background how you got started and you know how things were for you and everything when you first got on Twitch.
Honestly, it was pretty much one of those things where I've gamed for a very long time, and then watching gamers, found out about Twitch late summer 2012, and then Guild Wars 2 came out, was playing that a little bit, and then was watching some guys stream it to kind of get an idea of some different strategies, stuff like that. And then Mists of Pandaria came out, and started watching some people doing quests and things like that. I said, why don't I do this? I got a YouTube channel, I've got a bunch of followers, stuff like that. So I just kind of, I think it's just like everybody, right? You just kind of throw shit against the wall and see what sticks. You kind of just say, fuck it, I'm going to give it a shot. And so that's pretty much how my streaming career kind of got started about a year ago.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's the whole throwing the shit against the wall and seeing what sticks that's pretty much kind of that's why there's no recipe for this, because sometimes it can be kind of random, and there are strategies and stuff, but I totally understand what you're saying. So Co, give us a little bit of history on your side.
Absolutely. Also, if you guys don't mind, a pretty big chunk of my audience is PG-16, so just in case, if it's not too big of a deal, if we could just do our best, not a big deal, but for whatever.
Absolutely.
But for me, I actually started streaming April 4th of this year. I started in a game called Defiance. I had streamed for like a week or two prior for my guild. I run a guild called Carnage, and there were some guys that were interested in Star Wars, so I streamed like a week without a camera or a mic. I did some Guild Wars 2 leading. I was one of the first comms on Stormbluff Isle, if any of you guys remember that back when it was released. Did a little bit of streaming, but got heavy stream sniping, so I actually ducked out of that for a bit. But I really started full-time with Defiance, and it was really interesting because when I started, I'm in the rare position where when I started, I already had like a very tiny base because I was a guild leader. Now, when I say tiny, I mean single digits, like 9 to 20 people was my max for the first week. But even those little bit of numbers, I'm really helped. And over the course of the Defiance, it really became clear to me. I started seeing the potential. you know, when my numbers started going from 12 to 20 to 50 over the first few weeks, I really started kind of getting it. And then when Neverwinter came out and we made the switch, and I was like, oh, wait a second, you know, look at all these other guys that I've never heard of, and now they're getting all these viewers, and, you know, like, but what's going on here? And then I started doing it, and all of a sudden I started getting, you know, hundreds of viewers, and that's really when I kind of started changing my life around to kind of compensating for streaming. And that's really where it all went from there. That's how I got started. The community that built around the channel had just been incredible at that point, and it's only been, you know, going more and more. And yeah, but it all started for Defiance for me, and moving into the other games. It was a really good time, really fun game.
Yeah, I started with the MMO as well. I mean, when I first started, I just graduated college. I had like $200 pretty much to my name, and Cora, my girlfriend, I was like, listen, I've got this last $200. I think I'm gonna buy a founder's pack for this new MMO Neverwinter that's coming out. And she looked at me like, are you crazy? You're gonna spend your last $200 on a video game? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And I don't think she was too happy about it at the time, but I bought it and I started playing, and I got early access. It was like a 5-day early access, and I guess I hit level 60 about 2 or 3 days in. So I had a nice level 60 character. And my buddy was, he was streaming at the time, and he was in my group that I had met, and I had no intentions of coming into this and being successful, or, you know, growing a stream, or, you know, doing this full time or anything like that. But I thought it might be fun, and I thought I might have a lot of content and a lot of information to give to people who weren't necessarily in the game yet. So I started streaming, and the first day I got on, I had like 400 people in my stream, because a lot of people wanted to see the game, and I was kind of early in the morning. I had a lot of European people in, and I thought that was normal. Like, I thought having 400 people was like a normal thing. I'm like, oh, damn, streaming, I got 400 people, cool. I didn't have a camera up, I didn't have any of that stuff, and you know, some people encouraged me after a few days to try to get partnered. I got partnered in a week. We were subbed in a month, you know, and you know,
so
I just
wait, real quick. You got
Yeah.
partner in your first week of streaming?
Yes, correct.
Whoa.
Let's not rub it in.
Well, I didn't even have a camera at that point, but somebody was nice enough to donate a little bit of money, so I went and got a camera, and we set up the camera, and I sat down and had a conversation with Cora and just said, hey, I got a lot of people in here. After I realized it wasn't normal to have 400 people, I got a lot of people in here that really want to see this game. I don't know if this is going to last, but I want to pursue this. And she was like, do it. Got your back. You know, she supported me, and so I just kind of took off, you know, running. But anyways, but since that point, one of the biggest questions I get asked is, you know, how do I start? How do I get going? How do I, you know, what do I do? And I would say, I want to say this right off the bat, and I think that the other gentleman here on this podcast can attest to this. I think that getting over the first hump of viewers, which, you know, thank God I was lucky enough I didn't have to deal with that. Getting over that first hump is difficult, and by that I want to specifically say that it is, what I'm talking about is your early viewership, getting over having only 1 or 2 people in there, and actually getting exposure and having people see what you do and what your content is. Would you guys agree that's probably the hardest thing starting out new, is just getting past that first barrier of low viewership?
By far, I would say you're absolutely right, and I think that honestly, when it comes down to it, that's probably the most specific question that I get asked about that. Yeah,
is how you get past
how to
that.
get the ball rolling. Yep.
Yeah, I definitely agree 100%. It's always about, like, dude, I can get 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in my stream. How do I get to where I have regular viewers? And the biggest or the number one answer that I give to that is pretty much be consistent. And the fact that consistency will breed viewers, and it's probably one of the reasons that you guys, I have a 6-month start on you guys, and, you know, Adam is obviously blown up, and Co, you're almost double the number of followers I am. Is I've actually taken and probably hurt myself by playing too many games over the course of the last year. And so if I were to give any kind of the hard knocks, or the school of hard knocks piece that I learned, was that actually bouncing between game to 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 game will actually hurt you if you're trying to grow a follower base. Now, look, hey, you know, if that's what you want to do every day, I'm not going to stop you from doing that. I'm just going to tell you that you're going to stunt your growth of your Twitch channel by doing that. And I learned that the hard way. That's why if you look at my follower count, you look at Carnage's follower count, mine's half of his. You look at my follower count, you look at Adam's follower count, mine's a fifth of his follower count. And it really comes down to, I mean, even though I consistently stream every single day, 9 o'clock, bam, Pacific time. I mean, I'm a little bit later than you guys because you guys are Eastern, but at the same time, even though I have that consistency, I don't have the consistency in the game. So I'll have people that'll come in and they'll be like, dude, yesterday you were playing this. When are you going to play that again? And because I was bouncing from so many games, my answer to them was, I just don't know.
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest thing that I'm actually looking to change in you know, going forward.
Well, you know, and it's, you know, on the consistency note, it's also putting aside enough time too, being consistent with your times and then putting enough time into it. Guys, there's no joke about this. This is a full-time job. If you want to do this successfully, you have to put the time in. And I have a lot of people, you know, they say, well, I'm not getting a lot of people. And I say, well, how long do you stream? Oh, for 2 hours. And I say, well, what do you stream during that 2 hours? Oh, well, I just kind of jump between things. It's like, I'm sorry, it's just never going to happen if you do that. I mean, I'm not going to say never. It might work out for you, but it's very unlikely because people want to see one specific game. You're going to get different crowds for different types of games, different genres, different, you know, like I'm playing Hearthstone right now. I didn't start as a, you know, CCG player, you know, but I am, you know, and I have been for this last, you know, 3 weeks or so. And I have a certain crowd that shows up to see this. And a lot of people used to watch me for my MMO player are no longer around. And the thing is if you're going to stream, you know, consistency, it's probably a really good point. Not only is it just being consistent with the games, being consistent with your hours and having enough time in the day for people to come in and watch. If you're going to jump on for 2 hours and switch your games up, it's not going to work. You're going to have to take at least, I would say at least 4 hours a day, at least. And I would really suggest something closer to 8. But definitely the consistency is huge. And I would add something else to that too. Not just the consistency of it, but also what was I about to say? I actually lost my thought there. Sorry for your PG-16, but damn it.
Oh,
Damn it, I lost my thought.
Pretty much
what do you
everything
gotta say
but the
about
F, man, is good to go.
this?
We've
Go,
made sacrifices.
say?
But no, it's really interesting you guys say that because I couldn't agree more that having, you know, consistency is extremely important. In fact, I made a very big mistake, very similar to what MMODen just said. When I did Defiance, it was up and up and up. I had about 150 when I stopped Defiance. I jumped into Neverwinter, up and up and up. For my last 3 days of Neverwinter, it was like 300, 350, 400. It was fantastic. I then took a week-long vacation, which of course you have to do. That's fine. And when I got back, in that time, Neverwinter kind of died. And that was when a lot of the big issues happened. There was a lot of the exploits in the game that came up. Really, the rollback, that was the big one. The rollback happened the day before I left. Talk about bad timing. So when I get back, you know, my numbers were in half at best. And I rode Neverwinter out pretty much just PvPing for weeks. But then this is when I basically go right to what MMODen said. This is when I had my problem. Because what I thought at that point I could just play whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, and that, you know, oh, the viewers would flock to me and everything will be fine, right? Absolutely not. I played for about a month and a half of whatever I wanted. I played through, you know, System Shock 2 a little bit, Deus Ex 1, a bunch of games that literally I was the only person streaming it on Twitch, but I just didn't have the base to support it. And there was a period of time when I was considering almost stopping streaming because it got to the point where, like, when I was doing my Deus Ex 1 playthrough, I think for like a 6-hour period I capped out at 26 viewers. And this was after, you know, the 300, 350, 400, and I was just kind of like, man, this is ridiculous. So I had to reaccount what I was doing. And this actually pulls me to my next point. You can do other games. You can play lots of games at once. But you have to have structure. You have to structure your stream. So what I did was I started, you know, I said, okay, I need to do something about this. So I started doing schedule weeks. So what I did was every day had a purpose. Token Tuesdays, Undead's Days, Friday Smite Fight, Sit Down Saturdays. Even though I was playing all sorts of other games, there was a meta structure that kept it so that people knew what to expect, even if they knew to expect games that I didn't play often. And when I started doing those structure or those schedule weeks, I slowly